Hey everybody, it's Mark Ruggiero here, Clark Commando 1983, and this looks pretty familiar, doesn't it? I'm shooting another video. I was asked about a couple things. I mentioned in my fireside chat that I did earlier about top 10 designers and top 10 games, and I've been taking some notes. And so this video, I am going to cover by decade, Mark's, well, I don't know about by decade exactly, but Mark's top 10 games from when I started wargaming, 1975, till, probably sometime in the mid-80s, I suppose. So when I was a youngin' and kind of getting started, like I said, I don't have the energy, nor do I have copies of all the games I'm going to talk about, but honestly, I just don't have the energy to pull them all out, stack them up, and do visuals of the games, and I apologize for that, but I'm just trying to do the best that I can with what I have and the energy levels where I'm at right now. So, that being said, it's September 24th, a little bit after midnight, 2024. If you like this content, please like and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. Your feedback and everything is an important part of my battle with my terminal cancer as well. So, that being said, Mark Ruggiero, what did I do? I started wargaming in 1975 with, you guessed it, and maybe you didn't, but Tactics 2. I've told that story a million times, not going to go over, but it was my first, and as they say, who can pass up their first love? So I have that in my top 10, and I want to be clear that this list also is not necessarily in order or anything. So, but Tactics 2, why? Well, it was my first game, and to be honest, took me about 6 months to figure out how to play it, probably. I was 10 years old when I got it in 1975. Found it through a copy of Boys Life magazine. And there was an ad, and I will say this, a lot of people don't know that Boys Life was published by Monarch Publishing, which published Avalon Hill games. And it was like command your own armies and all that. And, you know, what was charming about Tactics 2, to grab a little boy who's still alive inside for me here, interest. Command your own armies, and it had armor and infantry and airborne, and it had amphibious assaults, and even had nuclear weapons, right? But how amazing was this as compared to what I had been playing? Chess, Risk, Stratego, Army Men, like most of us did, right? And I will say that just, I don't know, you know, like you said, wargaming had its own language, but literally, I'm guessing, but I really do. I think it took me like 6 months to figure out before I played it correctly, but that did not prevent me from having a ball with it. And how did I get it? There was a toy store. I grew up in Oroville, California. A toy store in Chico, California had it. And I had to save for a little while, and got for the princely sum of $5 at the toy or hobby shop that I bought it at. So that's one, Tactics 2. So I'm just looking at my notes here. Also, in those formative years, and it was kind of like going to college, right after Tactics 2, or shortly after, my parents, for Christmas, bought me Rise and Decline of the Third Reich from the Avalon Hill Game Company. And I believe, I'm just guessing, I think it was literally by this time, might have been the second edition, and I'm not sure, but and I still have a copy, and I have a later edition copy. But what was magical about that game? Well, first, the learning curve was insane. It was kind of like Tactics 2 to that was like third grade to college. But it didn't prevent me from setting it up, playing it wrong. Absolutely, probably blew 90% of the rules. And I want to say that game, when did I actually play it right? I'm not sure that I ever did. But I mean, I did in high school by the time I got to third edition or whatever. But at that time, complexity. But what other game allowed you back then? Yes, Risk, but come on, we're war gamers. Yes, Risk is a war game, but much different level, right? So, but I mean, I got to try to conquer the world, defend democracy. I mean, I even remember setting up the 1944 scenario and just being like, all right, let's see how long can Germany hold out, right? But just good stuff, good stuff. So, Third Reich. Number 3, what did I have here for number 3? So, number 3, like I said, I'm not going exactly order, would be the Russian campaign. And I got that. I'm not exactly sure. It was the Avalon Hill version. I want to say, honestly, I have a pretty good memory. And I know that I had it by the time I was in, 1977, 78. So, and just literally, by that time, I think I knew enough about war games where I'm pretty sure I played it fairly correctly. And at that time, I finally had an opponent or two, a couple friends of mine that had picked up other war games on their own. And we met through school or whatever and turned out. So we got together and we would play. And, back then, too, part of the magic was not these articles about, well, there's a this percent chance to do this and this is the best defense, and but it was like kind of cool, like to think in terms of like, how do I maximize my attacks? How can the Germans defend the Crimea Peninsula to keep the bombers, even though there is no bombers in the game, well, per se, away from the Romanian oil fields, right? And then driving towards Moscow, and do I split off, or just it was just very magical. It was very just not, at least for me, like, and I guess I could argue I'm still like that as a gamer, but not super like, ooh, how do I play this and just be the best player that I can be at it? So what was great about it was very sweeping campaign. Some of very well balanced game, probably too balanced in some ways against two equal opponents. Anyways, so number 3, Russian campaign. And here we are 9 minutes in. Number 4, Avalon Hill. You notice this theme here. I was a big Avalon Hill snob. But War and Peace came out in 1980, and I remember that. War and Peace, the latest printing, just 2020. Wonderful game. Didn't know nothing about Napoleonics. But man, another game where I could defend Europe or be Napoleon and try to conquer Europe, right? Try to invade England. Probably my favorite, most played scenario in that game was the 1812 scenario. And at this time, in 1980, I was a freshman in high school. I graduated in 83, so my freshman year was 79, 80. And um, but at that point, met a group of gamers. Scott Bell, hi, I don't know if you watch my videos, but Scott and Edmund and Pete and Tom and we would spend summers Dungeons and Dragons and wargaming and Third Reich and, well, War and Peace, because my buddy Scott, we had a good time playing with that. So, and then I'd be remiss, I got to go a little bit backwards for this one, and which led to a lifetime addiction of tactical games, but none other than what's right above my head, Squad Leader. Okay? And I will never forget this, and I'm going to show this, is, 1977, so it might have been 78, not sure. But no, let's see, 70. Yeah, so I was in 7th or 8th grade. I don't remember exactly now. Shoot. Well, anyways, I do know it was high school, 79. So, yeah, so 8th grade, 77, 80, maybe 7th grade. I used to do sleepovers at a friend, Mike, that I lost touch with him eons ago. And he was always getting new games. His family had a little more cash than ours did, and hey, it was what it was. But we used to get together almost, I want to say we did sleepovers almost every weekend, usually at his house, because he had more room, big playroom and stuff. And I'll say this, like Squad Leader, okay? Roger McGowan's iconic artwork, and I'll never forget it. I get to his house, and he's like, Mark, I just got this game. We're going to play it. Like, I've been looking at the rules, and I'm sure we blew it that first night playing the guards counterattack. But oh my gosh, what a mind blower. Like, morale checks and ranged machine gun fire. And I mean, I could go on and on. It was so amazing. Such a breakthrough in gaming, especially for this kid. I was like 12 years old. And anyways, what else can I say? Ended up playing Squad Leader all the way through GI Anvil of Victory. I was the guy in line to get the ASL rulebook and Beyond Valor when that came out in 1986. And I've literally played it off and on forever. So, anyways, all right. So that's the halfway point. And we're 13 minutes in. And you're either not watching anymore, so you wouldn't see that comment, or you're still here with me. So what does Mark have in his notes for number 6? And as you can see, this list, if I had pulled everything out, I mean, if I was healthy and cool, I would definitely do it. Everybody, I just can't. I just can't physically do it anymore. So it takes a lot of effort just to do anything. So anyways, I'm not bitching. I'm just saying it is what it is, right? So, let's see here. So in this time frame, and I'm getting into the mid 80s, what else did Mark have? Okay, Avalon Hill. Gee, and there's a little story behind that. But another Avalon Hill title. Caesar at Alesia. Okay? And if I haven't said it before, my gaming even now is more about, oh, that game looks interesting. Let's get it. Let's try it out. Then I learned about the history. I'm not, some people do it the other way, get into the history, want to explore it through a game. I'm usually the opposite. But anyways, Caesar at Alesia, the double donut. I mean, come on, barbarians trapped in a city, big relieving force. You got your opponent, you don't know where they're coming on. The Romans, I mean, what else? You know, you get into the strategy, the fort placement, and all that. Still a phenomenal game. I still got a copy of it. It will be part of my estate sale. I'm never getting rid of it. I may come across an extra copy that I'll sell because a lot of you know I've been selling. But that's what is so magical about wargaming, isn't it? It really is. I mean, wargaming is just magic. I mean, I'm sorry. That's me. I'm always just enthusiastic. So Caesar at Alesia. And like I said, number 6, but these are not in any order of favoritism. They are just people say, what's your top 10? And it's been really difficult. And this is by decade, right? I plan on doing another, like, what's my top 10 of all time? Top 10 designers. I mean, it's all going to be tough videos to do. All right. So coming in at number 7, guess what? And I said there's a story behind it, and I'll tell you. Another Avalon Hill title, Panzer Leader. Okay? Now, actually, you could say, oh, what about Panzer Blitz? And so, I'll say this. I love the whole series that they did. Panzer Leader, Panzer Blitz, excuse me, Arab-Israeli Wars. But Panzer Leader was another game that I picked it up. I was already in high school at the time when I did get it. So I actually bought that and Cross of Iron, the expansion for Squad Leader, on the same day. I do remember that. For the princely sum of like $24 or something. And that was a lot of money. It took me quite a while of mowing some lawns and saving up my allowances and stuff to get that. But no, in high school I didn't work, actually. I mean, I worked kind of, but anyways, so what's the story with all the Avalon Hill games? Okay, long story short, because it's about my top 10, is that I was a snob. I didn't like the paper maps, and I guess that could be a video for another time, but I did buy a SPI game and wasn't impressed, and needless to say, I never actually got into buying or playing any of their stuff till after they had gone out of business, pretty much. So, but Panzer Leader, wow. Honestly, Avalon Hill was the king of marketing. You read the back of the box. I got a copy here somewhere. The front cover art. Just amazing. And the scenarios, and I actually was able to read the rules at this point. I was a war gamer and figured it out and played it mostly correctly. We still play games and screw shit up, right? But yeah. So Panzer Leader. Panzer Leader. I mean, come on. That was a great cover. You gotta admit it. All right. So another game in this time period that I'm trying to keep focused in a certain time period of my life. I guess I could just say from when I started in 75, maybe through high school. But even that's not fair. There's so many good titles. Just picking 10 is so difficult. But I will say, based on play, and I don't remember exactly when I got it, was Avalon Hill, Alexander the Great. By the way, a game designed by Gary Gygax, who at the time in my life, junior high, high school, I was playing Dungeons and Dragons. So, and some people may not know that, but the Avalon Hill Alexander the Great was actually designed by Gary Gygax, same Gary Gygax that did D&D with Dave Arneson. And what can I say, man? This thing had phalanxes lining your guys up, and it had tactics, and you're trying to force the other guy's morale down to 0, if I remember correctly. It's been a long time. I'm looking up at the shelf up at it right now. I got at least 3 copies of it here. 2 are really beat up, and I think one's in pretty decent shape. So yeah, I still have dupes of some stuff, even though I've been selling and selling and selling. So, but Alexander the Great. And you know what? By the way, all these games that I'm talking about are still playable, are still, can have some value, bring some joy to your table, right? So don't ever let anybody tell you, oh, that game sucks. Don't just, please. If you watch enough of my videos, you know that it's about your journey. That's all that matters. I don't care if you buy them and play them, you buy them and just look at them, you buy them and read the box and leave them in the shrink wrap. Okay, wonderful. If you enjoy it, do it. Because we're all here way too short. So Alexander, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I only got 2 slots left. What is Mark gonna pick? Well, this one might surprise you. Maybe not. I'm gonna go with the old Battle of the 1965 Battle of the Bulge. And I'm looking here in my notes, and people laugh at the Pink Panzers and the Bad Order of Battle, but you know what? The Bulge is just fun. That's why they're still making games on it, right? And oh boy, I think a couple that I could really tell you, but I'm not gonna. That's not this video. So, but a lot of people forget the Bulge 65 introduced some pretty breakthrough things like the engage result and the contact result. Is now, granted, SPI may have done it before that. I don't know. But for me, Avalon Hill, 1965 game. Now, that's not when I got it because that's when I was born. And I still got a copy. And yeah, I do. And will I play it again? I don't know. Who knows? I doubt it. But very innovative. Just always a blast. Can I hold Bastogne? There again, that magic for me, has never really been about what's my best odds, what's my best strategy, what's the most gamey thing that I can freaking get away with, right? No. In my head, I was refighting the Battle of the Bulge. The Germans, I was trying to break through, get to Antwerp, get across the Meuse, see if I could do better than history. As the Allied player, the Americans, can I hold Bastogne? Can I somehow, hold Ellsbourne Ridge, right? I know the game had its issues, but it was a blast. So that's 9 titles, right? 3, 6, 9. So, as I said, there are so many more games I could squeeze into this. I could do like Mark's top 1 billion games, and it probably wouldn't be enough. But I'm going to keep it to 10. And like I said, I'm not really excluding any titles because to me, they've all been magical. That's how I ended up with such a huge collection. Now, sadly, I'm having to slowly, I'm having to get rid of stuff. But here's what it is. Number 10. Okay. I don't know that this one will be a surprise or not, but definitely it's going to be one of my best favorite designers, Vance von Voorhis. But Air Assault on Crete. What a magical, magical game. Honestly, for me, I think it was the first game ever where you rolled for drift and broke down Germans down into companies, and you had the Allied units, flipped over, and just amazing. To me, I must have played all these games got played a ton back then, right? Like literally till I wore the counters out. But Air Assault on Crete, and I still to this day have never played Malta, and I have the new Legion Malta, which I hope to get to. But my God, and I would do crazy shit like, let's see what happens if we try to land the airborne directly on top of the airfield. Well, you can imagine what happened there. Most time you'd end up drifting out to the ocean and dying. So yeah, there again, just going for the magic, trying to try all kinds of crazy tactics and different things. So anyways, you spent 4 minutes of your life with me. This video will now be in perpetuality, I guess. Well, however long YouTube lasts with you. And I will title this when I upload it. I haven't quite decided. But will it be a part 2 of like 1980? Maybe I will do that because that covers my Air Force years and up through. Maybe I can squeeze a second video in this, and I'll eventually create my own playlist too for this, like Mark's top 10 or something. But anyways, what I'm getting at is you'll be able to look at the title because that's how I do things. I film things, I talk, I do have a goal, and then I decide when I'm uploading it what I'm going to title it. So, unedited from Lodi, California, Mark Ruggiero, Clark Commando, 1983. Hey, thanks everybody for allowing me into your life for 25 minutes. And I'm going to get to my death ride stuff. Anyways, take care. Talk to you soon.